Today I talk about assumptions and how damaging they can be. So I wanted to mention assumptions today. It's something that I guess I don't think I've ever really directly mentioned in the past, but I just thought it was quite useful now, because kind of based on other videos about how we get caught up in certain ways of thinking, like generalizations. It is about the language we use which kind of holds us back or creates beliefs which then kind of disempower us slightly. And what I wanted to share was about ask you to notice the assumptions that you make or other people make around you and invite you to challenge them, probably more than you're currently doing. Now, the reason I focus on assumptions is because when we think about something, we'll come up with a generalization, something about it, and we'll predict in advance an outcome. And that then has a corresponding feeling and effect. If we begin to assume certain things, we begin to block off other possibilities. And so you become like tunnel vision on this assumption. And that tunnel vision isn't always going to be the most useful, because you can get quite fixated on it if you assume something's going to happen or assume someone is going to behave in a certain way. When we get into the assumptions, we kind of like go back, excavate from our past a number of feelings and sensations and bring them together in a bit of a mix and begin to kind of re-inhabit those feelings and emotions. So assumptions are quite dangerous things. Actually, one of the most dangerous parts of our language, of how we communicate, is when we assume a lot. So an assumption is like setting a belief up in place about something. And the more, as you know, believe something, the more truer it is for you, even if you haven't got enough evidence to back it up. It becomes something you believe on and you hang on to. I mean, how often have we had conversations with people where we said, oh, well, I assume you're going to go and do something, or I assumed you're going to do X or Y, and they don't. And that assumption creates some sort of difficulty or some sort of challenge. But possibly the more harmful ones are when we assume a person is going to behave in a certain way in advance of them doing it, that we kind of categorize them in a certain way that just begins to guide our thinking into only noticing when they do not follow through as we believe, when our assumption that someone's going to fail us in some form then happens. That is one of the harmful ones, not only just to the person that you're thinking about, the situation you're thinking about, but to yourself, because you're limiting your experience, you're limiting your ability to believe there's alternative options. So some examples in language are that if someone looks at you and you believe that they're looking at you means that they don't like you, that for you is what you're assuming based on what you believe. You're saying then that really that look means this, that look from that kind of person, or that look in general, means that person doesn't like you. So you're assuming certain conditions to be true, and you'll then have a response to that person in your belief that they don't like you. But you don't know that look could have been generalized. It could have been just an absent soft stare where they weren't really focused on you but looking in your direction. Lots of alternative ways of seeing things, and these are the kind of things we have to be careful of, or at least, as I said at the beginning, begin to notice them. A more poignant example could be that if you forget an anniversary of your partner or a birthday of a friend, now they may go and think, oh well, you've forgotten it, which means that you either don't care or don't love them. That's their assumption. The reality could be that for you, a number of things have happened where it was just not on your radar and you genuinely forgot. But they've assumed that your forgetting equals that you don't care or don't love them. As I said at the beginning, these can be quite harmful assumptions that we have to be wary of. So begin to notice when we're assuming certain things, when we don't know enough information, but we're making leaps of belief and coming up with potentially, well, certainly one option, but ignoring loads of others. And when we ignore loads of others and focus on one, we don't listen, we don't look for alternative thinking. And that is where the harm can come. We then create further assumptions, which then can create very challenging conversations or situations with people, and particularly about people we care about. So go about your day. Notice when people, or even yourself, assume a few things. And the best way to resolve it is to challenge it. And to challenge it is to say, well, how do you know that? What makes you say that? What evidence do you have behind that? Question, challenge, and you may begin to uncover the assumption that's leading to these beliefs. And if you can cut them off now and change them, that person will have a more choice available to think in different ways and look at alternative ways of seeing the situation. So for the time being, think on that and have a wonderful day wherever you are.